my name is Bilikis. How you all doing? You're welcome to a brand new tutorial. Today's tutorial will be on how to make an embellished organza long top or a short dress, because it will pass for a long top or a short dress. It totally depends on your preference. Before we continue, are you subscribed? If you are not subscribed, make sure you subscribe now so that you don't miss our tutorials, and tap on the notification bell to get notification each time we put on a video. Also follow me on Instagram, Bilikis Signatures. Our Facebook sewing group is Sewing Innovation. Before we continue, I just want to tell you the tools are available. This is the 1 meter ruler, this is the hip curve, the pan curve. We also have them in plastic. We have the handhold curve, the pattern master. In case you are interested, I'll put the contact number in the description box and also in the comment section. Right now, let's go over to the work table and get started. Over the fabric now, I have two options here. Now I have some leftover African print. You can see that it is not necessary you use African print. You can use any type of flowery material. So now I have two options. This is one, and here are two colors of organza. Here I have silver. If I'm using this, because it will be making use of the pattern, so for this it will go along with the silver sewing. That is if I'm using this. Here I have white, which I will use with this. You can just mix up the color however you want, but I think I will go for this option. So the first thing now is to start with the cutting of the organza. Now this is the organza I'll be making use of, but you need to know the length of the top or dress you want to make. Like for me, I'm going to make it 35 inches, that is vertically. So 35 plus any allowance, I can just make it 36. If you want yours shorter or longer, you can decide that. Then another vital measurement is you need to place your measuring tape at your center back and then decide where you want it to stop. You can decide to make it short. Like if I want it short, I could just make it like 20, 19, 20 is okay. But for this, I can just make it 23, 24. That totally depends on your preference. We are going to use the other fabric to tape the edge of the top or the dress, and also for the neckline. Then you embellish. I'm just going to show you that when we get there. So now, since I know the length to be 36, then for the width I'll just make it 24, 23, 24, which is okay. Now I have this organza here. I'll just start from the edge. I think it's about 5 yards I have here, but you don't need up to that. Just 2 yards is okay. So I'm just going to fold it this way. So you can just cut one first, or just cut it all together. So if you are cutting one first, this is what you do. So all I have to make sure is measure 36 inches. Just measure it from the lower part upward, 36 inches. Then the width, since I said I want 23 or 24, I had extra 1 or 2 inches to it. So in case you change your mind, so I'm just going to cut that out. Then we keep going. I have it cut out. Remember I said I want the length of 36, so this is 36. I already made the line because I'm going to trim off this lower part. So that is the end of the dress here. So now, since that is sorted out, I want the width now, that is from my center back to the sleeve length, to be, initially I said 24, but I just decided to make it shorter, so I'm just going to make it 21. So I'm just going to measure from the edge here, 21. Let me see that. I'll come over to the edge here, 21. Then I'm going to draw a straight line, because that will be trimmed off. Let me see that. So that is the end of the width of our dress. I just hope the chalk is visible. So having seen that, we move over to the neck region. So for the width of the neck, now I'm cutting the fabric together. You can see I fold once, can you see that? Then I folded twice. So I'm cutting both the front and the back together. So now for the neck width, I'm just going to make it 5 inches depth and then 4 inches in width. That totally depends on your preference, however you want it. But before that, I'll just mark the shoulder slope. All I have to do is to mark 3 inches from the edge here. So this is 3 inches. Sorry, the fabric is just moving around. That's 3 inches. Then from the end of the dress or top here, I'll just come down by 1.5. 1.5 is okay. Then I'm going to connect from that 1.5 down to these 3 inches I measured inward. Can you see that? So that is the shoulder slope. Now I can insert the neck width. So the neck width, I said I want that to be 4. So that's 4 here. This is 4. You can actually make it wider, 5, 6, that depends on you. Then here will be 5, the depth. Then I can just connect it up. So depending on how round or slightly round you want it to be. Let me see that. So I'm using the same neckline for both the front and the back. So now I'm going to cut it off. You can make it wider if you want it to be, but I'm just okay with this neckline. Even deeper, that totally depends on you. Now this is what we have. Let me just open it up for you to see. You see that? Now this is what we have. So for the embellishment, we have one is going to be in the middle. One will be in the middle. Then we're going to cut a long strip that we are going to use to tape this side and also this side. So let me just get the other fabric and then show you what we are going to do. This is the fabric I'm using. So looking at it closely now. So now you can just cut out any of the design you have here as the applique. So now this is one design. I have another design here. This is another one. But it totally depends on the one which you want. But I think I will go for this very one. I'll go for this very one. But I think I have up to 5 here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I can decide to pick anyone. But for me, I'm just going to pick this. So I'm just going to trim it out. Then I'm going to show you the other one I said you could use for the silver organza. Let me just get that and show you. The one I was talking about. This is quite big, but there's always a way out. Now looking at it, this is quite big, but you could just make it smaller by cutting off this darker one, this black. Just trim it up this way. That is if you are using the silver organza. So you won't want to use this because this is quite big. So you just go for this black one. So just trim it out, just as I said for the other one. Now I'm going to trim out the one I want from here, then show you the next step. This is what I trim out from this fabric. Let me just set this aside. So looking at it now, this is what I have. Opening up the fabric again, we are just going to get the midpoint because it has to be in the middle. So we only need it for the front, not both. So you have to get the midpoint. This is the midpoint. This is going to be placed this way. This is the wrong side of the applique, and I'm going to place it like this. Can you see that? So there are various ways in which you could stick this to the fabric. For me, I'm just going to make use of hemming glue. Can you see that? You can use this because both sides of these are fusible. This side is fusible, this side is fusible. So I'm just going to cut into pieces to just place it underneath this to give it a good press to stick. You can use fabric glue to do that, or just simply pin this all through neatly, then use a zigzag stitch, and the color of this zigzag stitch you'll be using should be this color. Then you just use a zigzag stitch to just finish it up. I think that is quite easy. But for this, I'm just going to cut out this hemming glue into pieces. Can you see that? Please, one of this. Then I'm just going to place it in here. Make sure it's not showing outside. It's just to keep it down before I do anything I want to do. Even if you are using a zigzag stitch, you can just use the hemming gun to just glue it down before doing every other thing, so it will make it straight and not moving around. You can also embellish it with stones, pearl, anything at all. But let me just press this down and then show you the next step. Just fabric. Now with this crease, I just give it a good press with a lukewarm iron. With this crease, I know this is the middle, so you can decide however you want it to be. You could slant it, make it straight, that totally depends on you. So just make sure it is in the middle this way. I think it's quite okay. You can move it upward, but it's good a little bit lower like that. So these are my hemming glue. Just place it. Take your time because it doesn't have to show. Just going to give it a good press for you to see how it looks. Now looking at it, I've given it a good press. You can see, find the edges are still open, but with this, if you are using a zigzag stitch, it will be very easier for you to do. So, or you could use a fabric glue, but I just like using the hemming glue. Then after that, I can do whatever I want to do with it. Then I'm just going to embellish it with this. Can you see that? So you can use any type of stones you want. So all you have to do is to just place it at the edge and then follow the design of the applique. Can you see that? So I'm just going to make sure I rearrange it. I have the machine for embellishing this, so I'm just going to place it on it to do that. So while we do that, we go to finish the neckline, because we are going to use this same fabric to finish the neckline and the sleeve area. So now I'm just going to go do this aside, then we'll focus on the other part. Now I've folded some part of the fabric I'm using. Can you see that? Then I'm going to place this on it. Remember, we have the same neck depth and neck width for both front and back, so I'm just going to use this to cut out all. But if they are different, that means you are going to cut it out separately. But since they are the same, I'm going to use this to cut out two, one for the front, one for the back. So this part will be on this folded area. Make sure it's this way, then you can just pin it down. Since I've traced out this part, then I need to trace this out till like 2 or 3 inches till we decide the length of whatever width we want. Can you see that? I haven't done that, then I can remove it. And you see that's the neckline. So it depends on how wide you want it to be, but I think 2 inches is just quite okay with the seam allowance, or better still make it 2.5. But let's just make it 2.5 then. So this is 2.5. Can you see that? So you keep following the curve. 2.5. 2.5. If you can see that. And from here 2.5. This is what I have. Make sure you cross check again. 2.5. 2.5 should be here. because I made a mistake while covering that 2.5. So is that quite okay from here? Always take time to go through your measurement. So 2.5, 2.5, correct, 2.5, correct. Then I can cut it out. Then I need 2 of this, so I'll just cut this. So cut the other one. Can you see this? To cut out the second one, I'm going to place it like this. Make sure this fold is straight. Can you see that? Then I'm going to cut the other one. So one will be for the front, one for the back. You see the two now. So one for the front, one for the back. So we are just going to place it on it to confirm if it is okay. I've opened up the neckline and I'm just going to place it on. So now let's just check. Can you see that? Okay, cool. Okay, that means I'm just going to trim all this, but while sewing I can correct that. So you can see this is done. So this will be for the front panel in which we added the applique. The next thing now is to measure this edge, because we are going to have this fabric at the edge here. So can you see this? So I'm just going to measure whatever I have here. Here I have, remember we took up the shoulder sleeve, so that is why I have 34.5. Now I have 34.5. So I'm just going to cut a long strip of fabric of 34.5. Just add extra 1 inch to it. You can always trim that off. So instead of 34.5, I'm going to make it 35.5. I have my reason for that, so you don't have it too short. So I'm going to cut one for the front, that is one side also for the front. So now for the back and the front, let me do that and show you. So right now I've cut out the long strips. Here I have 4. So 2 for the front, 2 for the back. So looking at it, can you see that? So I have 4 of that. So the next thing now for us is to start sewing all the pieces together. The next thing now before I start sewing the piece together is to finish the embellishment. I'm just going to use this machine to do that. I'm going to take my time to make a tutorial on how to do this from the scratch, and it will be detailed. But for this, I'm just going to be fast about it. Can you see? You can decide if you want it to be closer than mine, you can do that, but I'm just going to do it randomly to just have that perfect shape. You can use your pressing iron to do that. It's also very fast. So I'm just going to finish this up and then show you the final outlook. Now the next thing now is to join the shoulders together. So this is the right side. So now right side facing each other, because you have to sew on the wrong side. So I'm just going to take 1/4 of an inch, then sew it all down. Also on this side, 1/4 of an inch. After doing that, the same thing you would do to this facing, though we will have it on the right side. Can you see that? So you have to sew on the wrong side. So these are both right side. So you turn to the wrong side. So whatever seam allowance you took in here, you have to do the same thing to this one, because if you do a wrong seam allowance, there's going to be a problem. So whatever you are taking, if you take 1/4 of an inch, half an inch, you have to do the same thing here. Just place it on each other, 1/4 of an inch or half an inch, whatever you took here. Then we'll come back to continue this. On the shoulder slope, can you see that? So this is what I have. So I'm now going to have to turn this to the wrong side. Remember, the facing we cut out will finish on the right side. So this is what I have now. So now the right side of this is the wrong side, this is the right. This right side will be facing this wrong side. This is the wrong side of the top or dress. So this right side now will be facing this. So can you see that now? You can see. So make sure you check all your measurement before you start sewing it. Again, right side of this facing the wrong side of the main dress. Then I'll take to the sewing machine now. You have to pin yours together. Then I'm going to sew just 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, whatever seam allowance you want to take. So I'm just going to take it all around. When I finish that, I'll come back to show you the next step. Now this is the result of what we just made. This is the right side, as you can see. And remember, on the wrong side, we make sure the right side of this is facing the wrong side of the dress. So now on the right side, this is what it looks like. The next thing now is to notch all the neckline. Can you see that? I'm just going to notch it all around. Now after notching, can you see that? I will now have to bring it out. Can you see that? Before I keep folding again, I'll just use my pressing iron to just give it a good press to make it stable. Now I've pressed it outside. The next thing now is to fold in 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch all through. You will use your pressing iron to do that too, gently. Can you see that? So you just walk around the curve gently with your pressing iron. Now looking at it, I've sewn the neckline after bringing it out. So I folded it in and then taped it all around. You can see how beautiful that looks. The next thing now is to go to the edge of the sleeve area. So remember, we cut out 4 long strips. So I took 2, then I joined it up here in the middle. Can you see that? I just joined it up. Then the other 2. So one will be for each side. So just like we fixed the neckline, this is the right side of the fabric, but you'll be working with the wrong side. So now the right side of the part in which you joined, this right side will be facing the wrong side of this fabric. Can you see? Right side facing the wrong side. Can you see now? Then I'll take to the sewing machine now and just taking 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch from one edge. Can you see that? From one edge, I'm just going to sew that up till the other edge. Can you see that? So this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to do that for this side and also the other side. Now I've sewn these sides. Now on the right side, this is what it looks like, because the right side was facing the wrong side. So the next thing now is this is the right side of the fabric. This is the right. So now you have to bring it out. Let me see that. So this is what it will look like. So first I'm just going to press it out with pressing iron. Now I've pressed it out. So this is the right side. You can see initially it was underneath on the wrong side. So now I use my pressing iron to press it all out. So looking at it, you see how it looks now. So the next thing I'm going to do again is just like I did for the neckline. I'm just going to fold in 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch on this edge. Can you see that? Then I'm going to sew it right from this part. I'm just going to trim off this excess. Remember, I told you to add 1 inch more. In case yours is short or too much, then I can always trim it off. Then I'm just going to fold it in 1/4 inch in. Then I'm going to sew from here down to the other edge. After doing that, then I'll change my thread to white color to fold this in all through. I'm going to take in 1 inch to fold the lower part. Looking at it now, the size has been done. You can see it's beautiful, very, very beautiful. So like this, you can decide to just put it on like this without even sewing the sides. It will look beautiful. Or better still, you could just stitch from somewhere around here, about 5 inches down. It totally depends on you. But if you want to sew so much, you can just fold over this way. Then you need the measurement of your underbust. Like the measurement of my underbust is 14.5. So that means I have to measure 14.5 inches downward, which is somewhere around here, 14.5, which is somewhere around there. Then, to know the width of what you are going to sew, quarter of your hip measurement, like mine is 11 inches or 11.25, you just add extra 1 to 2 inches to it. So I could make mine 12.5. So 12.5 is here. Then I'm just going to sew from here downward, same measurement. You could just leave about 5 inches upward or just sew it down. It totally depends on your preference. So looking at it, that means I'm just going to sew from here downward or leave some inches above, or just leave it the way it is. That totally depends on you. So that means what I've done here, sewing it here, you're going to do the same thing to this side. So you just sew it however you like. Then I'm just going to do mine and then show you the final look. Now this is the result of the outfit. You can see it's so beautiful and nice. Try to make yours. Can't you see it's beautiful? You can decide to leave it open, or like mine, I sew it. So it's just beautiful. Make sure you make yours and share with us on our Facebook group, Sewing Innovation. Make sure you subscribe, tell your friends about this channel. Bye.